Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Joseph, and today we finally got our hands on the final game of Outriders. I actually got to play it yesterday by changing my time zone to New Zealand for Xbox. So I got to play about 5 hours past the demo. So I'm going to give you my first impressions of that. But despite all my progress actually is on PS5, so when I play the full game today, it's going to be with my Trickster on PS5. So I do have to kind of restart a little bit. I was playing with Pyromancer in this particular run for the Xbox, but I'm gonna just go down the list of my impressions, what I thought of everything so far. And the first thing that kind of hits you right away is it's actually quite challenging, and what I enjoyed right away, they force you to optimize your character from the beginning. You have to think about what kind of skills are you going to be using so that your armor, even if it's, you know, just blue armor, it's working with the skills that you're using, as well as weapons that do effects that are gonna really give you an advantage in battles. And I love that from the beginning. I always hate in a lot of looter shooters that you have to get to the end game to experience any kind of fun or anything like that. So here it's very different. Right away they force you to think on your feet. Not to mention the enemy variety was awesome. There's so many different, you fight creatures, monsters, birds, like different kinds of enemy factions. I really like the variety from the beginning, including bosses. I actually didn't expect bosses to be this interesting, and one in particular, I think some people already have experienced. I don't want to ruin it for anybody. Bosses actually have, you know, there's strategies and there's things that going on that are unique. It's not just like a bullet sponging boss. You would have to, there's dodge mechanics. I really enjoyed fighting that first big boss, so to say. And enemies, there's even more enemies in the game than it was in the demo. There's certain areas where I was just like, holy shit, the whole screen is just covered by enemies, and I can't imagine how it's gonna be on World Tier 15. And they're relentless. They flank you, they go from behind, they run towards you, they shoot like mortars at you, so you have to dodge enemies shooting at you, you have to dodge the mortars. They are quite relentless. I actually had a harder time with Pyromancer, as he's pretty squishy right in the beginning. He's gonna be a monster later on, you can tell. But it was a little bit tougher for me. I had to be smarter on my feet to be able to survive some of those onslaughts, and I really didn't want to bring down the world tiers as I was playing. The story itself is I know I've told people on my channel that I was very excited for the story. That's one area where it's a little weak. It's like very simplistic story, and it's there just like, hey, just get from point A to point B. Oh, we went here, now we gotta go to the satellite. Oh, from the satellite, let's go here now. There's not a lot of character development. It's just move from one point to the other. But where there is interesting stories, it's actually the side quests. There's some nice little lore and stories that you get to experience where they just inject some very human moments. For example, there was one where this guy asks you to clear out the path to his home so they can see the grave of his kids and his wife, because he made some kind of mistake trying to steal food, and people kind of rebelled and killed his family. I thought that was really nice. There's a couple little stories like that that kind of struck out to me right away. And it looks like there's going to be a lot of different levels to explore. In the 5 hours that I played, I explored 3 different regions. And that's probably the reason why they chose to make it a little bit more linear. They can make it more cinematic and at the same time give you a chance to do a lot more variety of levels. So it kind of reminded me very much of Gears of War in terms of structure. It's very forward. But I am going to be honest, despite the fact that I said I preferred the hub approach of this game, I do want it to be a little bit more open than it is now. It feels a little bit more guided than I would have liked it to be. That's probably one of the more negative things I can say about it. I pictured Tomb Raider, the reboot games, where the hubs were kind of huge areas that you can go left and right and explore and everything here. Whereas here it's literally, if you go on a diverging path, it's most likely to a side quest, and that's it. There's not much to explore within the areas. They do open up. They're not as claustrophobic as they were in the demo, but they're not. There's not a lot of room for exploration. And as an action RPG head myself, it kind of beckons me, like, I wanted to explore a little bit more and find things, but I guess it's not that much of a big deal if there's a lot of different areas to explore. Sound has also been audibly improved. Right away it's noticeable. Guns sound better and overall sound effects sound better. I'll also want to know, will the expeditions offer unique mechanics? Because right now, you know, like many, like Borderlands or any other looter shooter, it's like, hey, go here, kill everything, keep moving. Well, Borderlands does have a little bit more variety, whether it's something vehicle missions or You know that because there's no escort missions, there's nothing like that. So it's very straightforward. Go here, kill this, activate this. But again, I think the strength of this game is going to be in its combat mechanics and its looter shooter mechanics, which are phenomenal, and I'm loving every single part of it. And I appreciate that it's not very convoluted, it's very straightforward. It's just the choices you make are going to make a huge difference how strong your character is going to be. You can feel your character change in his power when you respec your skill tree or change up your armor to address kind of like go along with your skills. What I did find though is it is a bit annoying. It's more noticeable here than the demo is how many scene cuts there are. Like you'll have a cinematic that will show you something, and then you will initiate another cinematic, which is a loading screen to go into the next area, and then the next area there's not cinematic, and each time there's a frame cut every single time. So it's kind of annoying. You understand why it's happening, but the game design is very old school in that sense. But it didn't annoy me that much because I know once we start replaying this, we just skip all that and it's not that big of an issue, but it's something to point out for people that it bothers them. I also did encounter some bugs. For example, I couldn't use any of the sniper rifles because I couldn't aim down the sight. You wouldn't see the sight. So I would have to either use rifles without sights or obviously all the other guns in the game. And I found that to be quite annoying as I was playing with a Pyromancer, and that's kind of, I needed to keep a distance and I couldn't do it. Not to mention there was some enemies floating around in the air, or they would kind of spawn weird or teleport toward you. It would be like kind of weird little things that happened. But again, that's all fixable. As of now, for me, this game stands about where Remnant from the Ashes is. One thing I can say right away, without even beating Outriders, is Remnant from the Ashes' design of the level exploration is much better because, first of all, it's randomly generated dungeons, and there is more exploration for you to do, and a discovery kind of going on there. Let me look at what's around the next corner, maybe I'll find a side quest. Where here's everything's kind of laid out for you, but at the same time there's a lot more variety in the environments, as I mentioned before. So far, like I said, I am loving it. I'm going to put some serious hours into it today with my Trickster, and I will try to stream some of it. Maybe I already streamed by this point, so you can see what I'm going to be doing overall with my character. I would love to hear from you guys. And that's all I got for you. That's my impression so far of the game. Hopefully, guys, you enjoyed that. And if you want more Outriders content, make sure to subscribe to the channel, as I've been covering Outriders very extensively in the past couple of months. Guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy playing some Outriders. Let me know what you think. Peace out.